Going on? What's going on, boxing world? It's your boy Ryan Fraser, and I'm back with another one, boxing talk up north. And we got the fight recap, and then we're gonna have the fights coming up this week, man. There's a lot of things coming up, a lot of return to the ring per se, as Shakur Stevenson is coming back after his big layoff. I don't know if you can say big layoff, but obviously most boxing fans wanted him to get right back in the ring after that stinker. And then we got William Cepeda, who a guy who's pretty much gonna position himself. Well, he's already in position for a title shot. I mean, if he gets to win this weekend over Giovanni Cabrera, who had a very good showing against Isaac Cruz on the Spence and Crawford undercard back in last year, July. A lot of people thought, Isaac Cruz lost that fight. So I mean, Giovanni Cabrera could come out here and he can make himself a big name and beat Giovanni Cabrera. That'd be if Giovanni Cabrera could do that, man. Shout out to him. But you know what it is, man. Box it talk up north. I'm gonna start with the weekend that just passed. Shout out to Steve Claggett, who had a great showing. You know, he did what he was supposed to do, man. I felt like if he was gonna get any credit in the fight, he had to fight the fight that way. And the way that he fought it was pretty much right in Tio's kitchen there and he'd smother Tio's punches. You can't let Tio get too elusive, get comfortable, and he stayed right there. And I thought Steve did a great job of like getting in there. He just needed a little bit more power on those shots to really hurt Tio, but he was touching Tio, man. And I feel like he wasn't getting enough credit for the work that he was doing. Like I had a few rounds that I had Steve winning, and maybe that's just my bias, but I felt like he did a little bit more than people gave him credit for. But he showed up. A lot of people thought Steve was just gonna get knocked out clean, but nah, man, he showed that chin. Like he got tapped a few times, and he just kept coming forward, and that's a good indication to me that Steve can go against these world level guys. I'm not saying he beat them all, but he definitely belongs in there. So I mean, Steve's definitely a guy who, if anybody deserves that shot, it was him. He's been in boxing for so long. He's been on the wrong side of boxing, like I said, and now he's on the good side, like where he's being the A side fighter. He's got a team behind him that's pretty much putting him in fights where he's favorable, and that helps your profile. That grows you. He was on an 8 fight winning streak. That's what they were talking about, and then he got an opportunity of a lifetime to not only fight for a world title, but a lineal title as well. That doesn't just come up every day. So shout out to Steve, man. I felt like he did a great job, man. He went in there and he didn't lay down. He went in there and made things tough for Tio. Tio had to earn that fight. And if you look at Tio's face, he was getting touched up. He was all bruised, man. Swollen. So I feel like Steve didn't get enough credit. Obviously the fans didn't know him or know of him, so they weren't giving Tio credit either. But I said it, man. Tio was in tough with Steve, and I really felt that way. And now that Steve had that performance, I hope that Steve can get a couple more fights back in Montreal, and then I hope one of these other cats that think they could just knock him out, call him up, and he gets another big money fight because Steve deserves it, man. He fought great. He fought a great fight. I was happy for him, and I obviously as a Canadian, it's a bit biased, but that's what we want to see representing the city of Toronto or not city of Toronto. You guys know I love my city, but he's representing the flag, Canada, man, and we all was rooting for him up here, and I'm glad he had a good showing, and he went down there and he showed that we're not gonna lay down, and even with the 7 losses, I think guys who are taking losses right now, they got to look at Steve and say, yo, he bounced back. He did it. He didn't stop fighting. And now look at him. He was on ESPN in Miami fighting at the main card. That's inspiration, man. So shout out to Steve Claggett and shout out to him for being a class act as he always is and for showing up for Canada, man. I appreciate you, Steve. And then we also had the big fight, man. Honestly, I was excited for this fight, Bam Rodriguez and Estrada, because I think Bam Rodriguez is the next big boxing star. This kid's only 24 years old, and he's beaten arguably two of the best guys at that smaller weight classes already. And he's beaten Sonny Edwards. Now he beat Estrada right after. This kid is special, man. And I know a lot of people are like talking about him fighting Inoue. Nah, man, that's not the fight. Like, I never really watched lower weights in boxing before because I don't know. There's not a lot of guys on this side of the pond or this side of the Atlantic that are like great little guys. You know what I mean? So a lot of the little guys are either in the UK, Japan, or the Philippines. So I just never got into it. But since Inoue has come up, Nayo Inoue, and he's the monster just destroying stuff, I had to watch, man. I gotta see. And along the way, I got to see obviously Jinto Nakatani, who is also just like as explosive as Inoue. I think he probably has better KOs than Inoue. Actually, he's again another guy that's at 118, I believe, and Bam's at 115. That's the next fight for Bam, not Inoue. Inoue's at 122, man. So I think people just need to slow the roll. Obviously, Bam Rodriguez has got a rematch clause against Estrada, so he's gonna have to fight him again. And I think he stopped Estrada earlier than he did in the first fight, Bam, because Bam just looked way more quicker. Punches were landing harder. He looked better, man, of the two. So I mean, I think Bam Rodriguez is the future of that small weight, and I do think him and Junto Nakatani are the next fight, man. I don't think Inoue we're gonna see that. I think Inoue is gonna go try to chase, the 30 pounders, maybe even the 35 if he can get up there. But I don't see him sticking around for Bam. But the Junto Nakatani fight and Bam Rodriguez will be a major fight in Japan if they do it, man. It's gonna be an awesome fight. All right, so now we're gonna skip on to what's going down. Obviously, a lot of weird news in boxing. The big news today was Canelo Alvarez apparently either going to be fighting Edgar Berlanga or Jamal Charlo. I don't know why Jamal Charlo's name is still in the conversation when he's come out on record and said he's not ready to fight. This is a guy who unfortunately is he's suffering from alcoholism and he's just not right mentally stable. He's been out the game for a couple years. So I don't even know why his name is being thrown in the hat. But this is how boxing works sometimes, man. And they just wanna see this guy just cash out. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they want to make sure he gets paid. But at the same time, you gotta think about this guy's mental health, man. And boxing is not a game to be played with. So if he's not be training, if he's not gonna be in it 1,000%, and you want him to go in that ring, he's gonna get hurt. He really is. So I don't want to see it, man. If Jamal Charlo is not ready, not mentally ready, don't even attempt that guy. Like, don't even show him that money because he might get up for it, but more than likely he's just gonna go in there and do what his brother did, just run, man, for the payday. And I don't want to see that. Who wants to see that? I'd rather see Edgar Berlanga because at least he has some confidence. He moved his life down to Florida. He's training like seriously now. He's taking boxing to another level for himself. So I think he'll be more prepared than Jamal, to be honest. Do I think he wins the fight? No. But I think he's more prepared, and I think he gives us a better fight than Jamal Charlo. And that's no disrespect to Charlo. I just don't think he's in the right state of mind right now to get in the ring with a guy like Canelo Alvarez. He didn't look good in his last fight against Jose Benavidez Jr., who was smaller than him that came up weights. He still couldn't look good against him. So what he's supposed to do with Canelo? At least Berlanga had a knockout in his last fight. So we can look at Berlanga like, you just had a knockout. All right. You come on with that. But Canelo Alvarez, obviously he didn't have a lot of dance partners to choose from. He was getting forced his mandatory William Skull first by the IBF. Shout out to the IBF for being consistent. I think anybody who wants a title, go through the IBF, man. Because if you get to the number one spot, they're going to make sure you fight the champ or they're stripping the champ. So the IBF, they did that. They enforced their mandatory. And, apparently Canelo's going to pay him step aside money. And then Edgar Berlanga, he ain't got no dance partner right now. But I wanted to see him fight Caleb Plant, honestly. because of their little interaction. But Canelo payday is way bigger than a Caleb Plant payday. So I mean, it just makes sense for Berlanga to keep his name in the hat. And then Jamal Charlo, who obviously leaked information was on that PBC deal with Canelo. So maybe this is Al Heyman just trying to get his man's paid. That's what that is. I think. I don't think that anybody in the world thinks Jamal Charlo got a chance at this point, just because of the way things have occurred in the last couple of years. The poor guy hasn't been in the ring seriously. Like, he hasn't fought anybody real in like 2-3 years. So how we expect him to get off the couch and beat Canelo Alvarez, one of the best boxers in the game? So I think it's tough, man. It's tough either way you look at it. But shout out to Canelo for being the face of boxing and having his options open like this. But I think after this fight, David Benavidez is gonna have to force that mandatory, because he ain't got no other dance partner that I think can beat him. I think David Benavidez is the only guy right now that could beat Canelo at 168, unless we're talking about David Morrell moving back down. Then he's got a shot too, just because of his youth. But as far as the guys who are there now, David Benavidez, you got that mandatory. Just go to WBC and tell them to order it up. That's what you got to do next, buddy, if you want to get that fight. Otherwise, Canelo just gonna continue to ask for this crazy amount of money. What was it, like 200 million or something like that he asked for? I think so. Oh yeah, there's Patricia there. What's going on? Shakur Stevenson. Honestly, I'm gonna talk about that. Let's get into that right now. I'll share the screen here. I think I got the event up. Shakur Stevenson. I'm excited to see him, man. I just wish the poor guy would stop talking so much and just fight. He one of them guys, like, he's always on Twitter. I don't understand it. Just go in there and fight, man. Your last fight was a stinker. We know that. All right, so let's take a look at the top ranked card here. BoxRec. Yeah, we got Shakur Stevenson fighting against Artem. Artem is famously known for the guy that pushed Frank Martin in his last fight. He had Frank Martin fighting, man. And I think the one thing about Artem, though, that he did do in that fight, which, sorry about that, I didn't like, was he took a knee to Frank Martin, man. So I mean, Shakur Stevenson, if he can step on the gas, he can probably get Artem out of there. But I think, like, this is one of those fights where Shakur could also look bad. Like, if Artem really pushed Frank Martin the way he pushed him, and if he comes out here and pushes Shakur, then when Shakur said about Frank Martin being a C+ fighter and all this stuff, it makes Shakur look like he's not really the A+ fighter that he keeps saying that he is. And I think, like, man, he just had to, maybe say a little bit, but not too much. And because, like, Frank got stopped by Javante, and that was the guy supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, Frank Martin. Frank Martin opted out of that fight. Obviously, at the time, people were criticizing Frank Martin, but after hearing that Dan Raphael reported that Tank Davis and Frank Martin did 350,000 pay-per-view buys, it looks like Frank Martin made the right business decision now. He got 1.1 million purse plus whatever these pay-per-view buys will provide him. He would not get that with Shakur Stevenson. I don't know what Top Rank got him, obviously, but Shakur Stevenson, I think his minimum was 3 million he was making per fight. So, Frank Martin's not gonna even make $1 million if they fight. So, say what you want about Frank, he made the right business choice. But yeah, back to Shakur Stevenson. He's got to look good this weekend. He's got no choice, man. There's a lot of pressure. He's a free agent, so pretty much he's got to audition, man. There's a lot of promoters watching him. There's a lot of promoters that are going to be like, oh man, do we sign Shakur to $3 million a year like Top Rank did? Because, to be honest, that's a lot of money for a guy who people aren't interested in seeing on pay-per-view. So, Maybe that's just what it is for Shakur Stevenson. Maybe he does gotta go over the matchroom and get Eddie Hearn behind him and do like a couple fight deal, something like Devin Haney has, where he's fighting with him for the big fights, but he's got to give Eddie a big fight. See, that's the problem with Devin Haney. He never gave him a big fight, so that was the issue that I had with it. But yeah. Oh, shout out to Patricia. Said she's gonna go. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's what's up. Newark, not too far from Washington. But yeah, man. Then we got Oshaki Foster facing against Robinson Kale. Yo, he gets so many good fights. Like he fought Shakur Stevenson as well. He just fought against Navarrete for a title fight. Now you're right back in there with Oshaki Foster for another title shot, WBC. So shout out to Robson, man. But I think Shaki Foster is gonna look good in this fight. He looked pretty odd in his last few fights, but he's another guy with a couple losses who's turned his career around. Won a title, WBC title, and he's a guy who's up and up. Signed the top rank. He wasn't signed for a while. I'm just telling you guys out there, those young fighters that think a loss defines everything, man. Nah, that stuff all started after Floyd Mayweather. Like before Floyd, all the greats had losses, man. It's just how they came back that made them great. A lot of them bounced back and won the big fights. But yeah, looking down the card, you got Keyshawn Davis is back. Yo, that guy, I think he needs to move up to 140 because he just looks too big for 35. But if he can make the weight comfortably, then keep him there because Keyshawn, he's gonna be, he's fireworks, man. He's another guy that I'm like really interested to see how Top Rank moves him because he's 10-0, but like really he's ready for probably almost contender level fighters right now. I know the guy he's fighting isn't a contender, but I'm just saying he's at that level where he can basically be pushed quickly if he wants to. Right now he's rated number 13 by BoxRec. Take that how you want to take it. BoxRec is one of those sites that it's all subjective the way they do their scoring. So don't look at that and be like, yo, it's an end all be all. Take a look at the rankings of the titles, and that's how you figure out where guys can go. And then we got William Foster. Shout out to William Foster. He's a guy who a very slick boxer down at the super featherweight division. I know he just lost to Henry LeBron, who is also a good fighter at that division. But William Foster's the guy I got an opportunity to basically learn who he was because of Pro Box. I got to watch him twice on Pro Box. That guy just loves to fight, man. I think they call him the Smile Assassin. He's smiling the whole time while he's fighting, man. He loves it. But he's an exciting fighter. So if anybody like is gonna watch this card and wants to know who to tune in for, I would say William Foster is definitely one of the guys you want to watch, man. He's pretty exciting. And then we got Abdullah Mason. Obviously, guys are dubbing Abdullah as the face of, or the future of boxing. The kid's like 19, 20 years old, and he's a blue chip prospect for sure. That kid is intense, man. Also at that lightweight division, 135. I'm thinking obviously with his body and how it's going to fill out, he'll probably be at 40, 47 when we start to see him like fight for titles. So, I mean, he's one of them guys that if you really want to, watch something special, I think he's fighting on the TV card this time. So you have to tune into ESPN to go watch Abdullah Mason for the first time. His first 8-rounder. Okay, this is really good now. He's been in like 6. I think he had 8 6-rounders or something like that. They're stepping him up now. 8-rounder. Okay, that's good for Abdullah Mason, man, because I'm excited for that kid. He's definitely the goods. If you don't know him, I suggest you watch him. You'll be impressed. That kid's a blue chip prospect. He is the truth, man. I love his fighting style. And then you got Kelvin Davis, Keyshawn Davis's older brother, 12-0. He's a welterweight, very tall. I think he's like 6'1", 6'1" welterweight. going against Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson, is this? Okay, I don't want to click on it because I think that's Kevin Johnson here, or just click on it from all the sparring footage with. Yeah, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, that's him, man. Okay, so this gonna be a good fight too. Kelvin Davis and Kevin Johnson. That should be a good. I mean, it's a pretty good card, man. All considering, obviously Shakur Stevenson is the blue chip guy. He's the guy everybody's coming to watch. So yeah, Shakur Stevenson is back, man. That's what's up. I guess we got to see how he looks and what he'll do in free agency. That's the big thing because this is a showcase event, you know. And then we're gonna head on over to the Zone. Obviously, the Zone has a card going on with William Zepeda. If you've never got to watch William Zepeda, he is probably the most active puncher, or one of the most active punchers in all of boxing. That guy is just he just be punching for no reason, man. That's what it seems like, but it's really just one of those things that, like, he's really how do I say it? He's really just like, he's a typical Mexican fighter, man. He's coming forward and he's coming behind those punches, and he's not stopping. He's not gonna stop until, you know, he lands his 3 or 4 punches, and that's impressive because he just does it at that round, every round, like that rate. He doesn't stop, man. He just keeps going and going and going. So William Zepeda, damn, where is this fight at? I'm trying to look for it. I'm pretty sure it is Oscar De La Hoya. Let's throw in the card. William Zepeda versus Giovanni Cabrera. Anybody knows Giovanni Cabrera? He's pretty much famous for taking Isaac Cruz there in his last fight against Isaac Cruz on the Spence and Crawford card. Yep, that fight went all 12 rounds, and a lot of people thought that Giovanni Cabrera pulled off the upset against Isaac Cruz. You know, he looked very good in that fight. And the only thing that I was kept saying was like, man, Isaac Cruz, he had an off night. He didn't look like Isaac Cruz, man. Because Giovanni Cabrera, you know, he started off the fight rough too. Like, he didn't start off the fight very good, but I mean, those later rounds, he definitely was winning those rounds. So I don't know why I can't find this Zepeda fight. I'm pretty sure it is this weekend though, on the 6th. Oh, and then we got all right, let's talk about that because they just added a fight to this card that Mazardov and Nate Diaz. Now, usually I don't do the YouTube boxing, you know. I usually don't, but they got some boxers on here too, like, right? Daniel Jacobs is making his return to the ring against Shane Mosley Jr. Shout out to Junior for getting his opportunities. I didn't think Golden Boy was doing him too well with the promotion, but here he is in a fight against Daniel Jacobs, obviously a guy who's well known in the boxing world, fighting Canelo Alvarez, and you know, he had a couple fights against a couple other guys, but Daniel Jacobs, obviously the Miracle Man, been around a long time. And then you got Armando Vargas versus Sean Garcia. Yes, you are reading that right. You got a Fernando Vargas' son versus Ryan Garcia's brother. If you want to put it in other terms, that's what's going down there. And then obviously the main event is Mazardov and Nate Diaz. And then they just added this fight here today, from what I've seen. Crumel Moulton, you know, Floyd Mayweather's blue chip guy, his next guy up, 18-year-old super featherweight. He'll be going against Nicolia Buzalman. Hope I didn't botch that. 9 wins, 8 losses. So this is kind of probably a stay busy fight for Crumel. You know, this will be his second fight this year, so I mean, good for him. Trying to stay active. He can probably still have 2 more fights before the end of the year. So I mean, shout out to Crumel. And then I see Anthony Pettis here. All right, this is the sanctioned bout, like a sanctioned boxing bout. He's the former UFC guy. Okay. Yo, his what the heck? That was a sanctioned bout against Roy Jones Jr. Okay, sorry, I didn't know Pettis fought Roy Jones and beat him. That's crazy. But yeah, the Mazardov, I'm pretty sure, and Nate Diaz fight is not a sanctioned boxing fight. That's why it's not on BoxRec. But yeah, man, that's what's going down in boxing this weekend. A lot of news today on the Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, Canelo is the face of boxing, so it only makes sense that everybody wants to talk about the face of boxing. But yeah, man. What do y'all think about Edgar Berlanga getting his opportunity of a lifetime to go against um Canelo Alvarez? I think Berlanga is definitely the better fight. Him and Jermell Charlo. I don't know how that works, man. I don't think how anybody can be like, yo, Jermell Charlo should fight Canelo. Shout out to Cat Sports. If you guys ain't seen him, man, he definitely is a boxing historian. And sometimes I'll go hit his channel and I'll learn a lot, man, just because that guy he covers a lot of details of not only fighters, the history of the sport, history overseas, the rules. He dives deep into it, man. Shout out to Cat Sports. But yeah, man, that's what's up. What's going on with everybody, man? Yeah, I definitely I'm impressed to see what goes on here with Shakur this weekend. I hope he can impress. That's all I'm hoping for. I hope he doesn't have another stinker. Because if that boy Shakur doesn't go out there and beats the brakes off Artem, man, you know what Boxing World, Boxing Twitter is gonna do. They're gonna kill him. His stock is gonna go right to the ground, and that's not good, man. I don't want to see boxers lose money. It's sad enough we got this whole Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia situation, which I still think he needs to be left in the dust because Ryan Garcia he took his suspension, so I don't know why he's still out here talking about it. Like, it's what it is, man. You didn't fight it in court. You didn't try to show us that you felt like it was tainted, and you know what I'm saying. So just take it on the chin and move forward, my guy. There's no need to be coming around here telling dudes the worst stuff that you doing to their women and saying this and that. And he doing it to like regular dudes too. Not I shouldn't say regular dudes, but like he's just disrespecting people every left, right, and center. So I don't know, man. And then Devin Haney, poor Devin Haney, talking about he needs to take a vacation. Like I don't think he should be doing that. Like especially if somebody else cheated, I get it. Your initial reaction is to be mad and is to be, throwing your hands up in the air like, yo, what's going on? But the jury's out. The judge made the right choice to suspend Ryan Garcia, make it a no contest. So now you should be moving on with your career. There's a lot of guys in the game who've been cheated and they still got that L in their record. Look at that Miguel Cotto. We all know that Margarito was not, he was not coming to the ring 100. He was coming in the ring with loaded gloves, man. He had stuff in his gloves. And Cotto was trying to tell him. And he felt he was cheated. But you know what Cotto did? He didn't stop fighting. He didn't go off for a year. He fought like a couple more years before he got the rematch with Margarito. It was like 2 years. So like I think Deb just need to continue doing what Deb do, and I think him sitting out is a mistake because he's already got weight problems. So I don't know how he's expecting this to go well unless he keeps his weight down while he's off. But we'll see. We will see. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna head on out though. I'm gonna go get ready for tomorrow. Hope everybody had a good night, man. Hope everybody's just chilling out, enjoying themselves. If you want to jump in, you can jump in. I put the link there in the chat for everybody. But yeah, man, we talking boxing over here. Anybody got Shakur losing? Maybe. No, anybody got any upsets this weekend? Because last weekend it was kind of like an A side thing with the top ranked card. Like a lot of the A side guys, everybody was gonna say was gonna win. Obviously, I was at until I got up to, you know, basically my boy Steve Claggett. I was like, nah, he ain't losing. Yo, what up, Mark Cubano? What's going on, my guy? Appreciate the love. But yeah, man. What about Lorenzo Medina? Anybody see him? He's a Cuban American guy from Florida. He's fighting on that top rank card last week, a heavyweight. He's like a James Toney, man. I swear to God, I had James Toney on the show a couple weeks ago, last month actually. If I get to talk to James again, I'm gonna ask him about Medina because I think James Toney should go down to Florida and work with him, man. That kid is special, man. He's got swag. I don't know how. Maybe Top Rank's gonna pick him up because I'm pretty sure that was his first fight under Top Rank. He's usually fights on the MVP promotion cards, Jake Paul. And actually, let me speak on that since we're talking about my fellow Canadians. Shout out to Lucas Body. He's gonna be fighting H2O Ashton. Yo, that's gonna be a good fight, man. I don't know if anybody's gonna be watching that Jake Paul card because I don't know who Mike Perry is. But people gonna have to educate me on Mike Perry. But that Ashton H2O versus Lucas Body fight is gonna be fireworks. Like that's gonna be the fight of the night, in my opinion. Just because Lucas Body, he's coming to punch, man. He gonna punch. I think he's rated like top 15 in the WBA, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty highly rated in the IBF. He's probably like top 5. So I mean, he is a good fighter. And shout out to Ashton for taking the fight because he's very young in his career. And he wants to challenge himself. Obviously, they were supposed to fight Floyd Schofield on the Netflix card where Mike Tyson had to bow out. So shout out to them, man. Like honestly, that's just one of those things where I'm like, man, Lucas Body is a guy who's been looking for an opportunity. I know that for sure. And now, they may have bit off more than they can handle, but we'll see. Because Ashton H2O, he's a great fighter, man. He's got a great style. He's got a huge amateur background. He's definitely the favorite in this fight. But I think the fight's going to be a lot closer than people think just because nobody knows Lucas Body. So, I mean, I don't see a stoppage, man. I don't, unless it's for Lucas Body. He catches Ashton or something. I don't see Ashton stopping Lucas. But I'm not a betting man like that, but if I could, I'll put my money on it's going distance, whatever that's worth. And then obviously Natasha Spence is gonna be going off against Shadasia Green. Shout out to Natasha Spence. She's actually signed to United Promotions, who also signed my brother. So shout out to her. We'll be rooting for her for sure to get the win against Shadasia Green, who's coming off a loss against Franchon Cruz for that. I think it was for the WBC title. So I mean, this is a good fight. Shadasia Green she's very well known in ladies boxing. Obviously, Jake Paul has been behind her, backing her whole career. So I mean, she's definitely the A side fighter, but Natasha Spence can definitely capitalize on that inactivity and the fact that she just came off a loss. So I'm hoping Natasha Spence goes up there, not only beats her, but gets a title shot after that. You always want to see the home team win. So that's what it is with me. But shout out to Shadasia Green. I'm glad to see she's back in the ring. I felt like it's been a while since we've seen her or heard from her. So at least she's got a fight lined up. It's just I hope Natasha Spence gets the dub. Obviously, a lot of bias over here, but we'll see how that goes, man. I think that's July 20th. That's coming up actually. To that Jake Paul card. But we'll see, man. We'll see what Jake does. See how he looks. Obviously he didn't want to waste a camp if he keeps going with this. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how she goes, man. And then William Zepeda. I don't know. Do y'all think William Zepeda, if he'd win this fight, is gonna go fight for a title next, because it's hard to say, because a lot of the belts are over at Top Rank. Obviously, Lomachenko and Javante Davis are in talks, so that can't be the fight. But what about a Dennis Barancek, or just go fight Shakur Stevenson? If he wins, like, these guys should just be fighting, man. I think if Shakur Stevenson wins in impressive fashion, and wins, the pay to wins in impressive fashion, they should fight each other while they both hot, man. Because especially Shakur Stevenson, he needs a name at 35 that people can be like, okay, that was a good win. I don't think the way he beat De Los Santos is really still, it's not sitting right with people. We're not really counting that win, and it sucks, because a win's a win. But they're not counting that win for whatever reason, man, because of the way he was moving around that ring. But I think Shakur Stevenson can right all them wrongs if he leaves. Well, not, yeah, have to leave Top Rank, but as long as they get him a fight, that's good. I'm not gonna tell the man what to do, with his money. Like, he should do what's best for himself. Go where he thinks he's gonna make the most money. But at the same time, bro, you gotta fight the fights that the fans want to see, especially when people gotta rap on you that's bad. I think you just gotta suck it up. Go fight them fights that we want to see. If not, then I don't I don't know what Shakur's doing, man. I really don't know. But we'll see though. We'll see what Shakur's up to this weekend. I hope he can really step it up, step on the gas, and get Artem out of there. Get a stoppage at 35, so that people can get off his case. But yeah, yo, shout out to everybody tuned in, man. Appreciate y'all. Really trying to get on a schedule here. Obviously, I work weird hours, yo. Y'all probably think, like, how does this guy survive? So yeah, I'm gonna try to go every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. because I know I'll be home then. But yeah, for sure, man. Tap in with me. Try to get some people on the show. I had some people booked. Then unfortunately they had to go on some trips and stuff like that. So it's all good, man. Everybody got life to live. So shout out to these boxers doing their thing. It's an exciting time to be a boxing fan. Enjoy the sport. Keep on it. Let's keep it positive vibe, man. Supporting these fighters. Obviously, it's a great time to be a boxing fan. You just got so much talent up and down all the divisions to watch from. Like, I never thought I'd be talking about a guy at 115 and Bam Rodriguez. Like, I just never would. And then I'm looking at 18. I know Gento Nakatani. And 22, I know anyway. What the flip? And 26. Who's at 26 right now? It's just a lot of names right now. So I mean, shout out to everybody. I'm just gonna dip on out here because it looks like it's that time to go, yo. Yeah, man. Peace.